First week.
Pretty good. The first week stuff, you have a lot of installation. So there's a lot of young guys that are still trying to get caught up and figure out what's going on out here on the field on both sides of the ball, and then combine them together. It's tricky. And then 2 of the days you didn't have pads, so it's really an introduction week. But I love the energy the guys have had out here on the field, the intensity they've brought, the work ethic. They've kept that level of intensity throughout practice, which I've been pretty pleased with.
With a guy like Chris Jones, high expectations going into the season, but it's his first spring practice. How do you handle a spring practice for him?
For us, we evaluate every single detail. One is he improving technically and all that stuff as a player? Talent will take you a little ways, but, eventually, he did a lot of things that were bad last year. He made some plays because he has some talent. If he wants to be a great player, you got to be technically sound in everything that you do. And, so that's the opportunity to learn this. I've seen guys really take some guys that need that technical work that you really see their fundamentals starting to come through. That's the biggest part to me that I want to see out of people.
Jeff said in the first 2 days he may have been thinking too much about those technique and didn't let his personality take over and succeed. Did you see that too, and how do you balance that?
The first couple days when that pads on too, so you're really thinking about all that stuff. But it's the balance. This is the time of year you want to do that. And game day, you can't be thinking about anything. You got to go make plays. But what you have to do is be able to find that balance back and forth. But you're continually improving technically as a player, knowing what to do, know how to do it, know why you're doing it. Those are important things, especially with how fast things go out there on the field.
Watching Dak, it just seems like he's taking ownership, not just of the offense, but even the entire team.
Well, he's got to be a leader for us. He's a leader. A quarterback's got to be the leader on offense. And, I think now he's been here for a while, understands what we're trying to do, understands the game, has played in a bunch of games. I think that, this is where you see him starting to make that adjustment from learning to being comfortable in the offense, and I think you're really starting to see that.
What are some of the bullet points, Dan, so they can retain this when they come back for fall camp in August?
Well, it's tough. Right now you're looking at this. The biggest one even right now is retaining what we're going to do Tuesday. They got 72 hours off before we install anything else, so they have 72 hours to digest. And know what's going on. And one of the things you want to do is you're always looking. There's all different types of learning going out on the field. You have the older guys that are really learning how to master their techniques, disguise. They're in grad school level of football out here. Then you have younger guys that are just, in remedial, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on. But what you want to do, the key is that everybody takes what they've learned. Whether it be in knowing in your assignment, in your technique, in all of in both of those things, and you never take a step backwards. So when you finish spring, you're at a certain level. When you come back in the fall, you're there or better, and then you're continually improving to get higher, and you figure out how to become a great player.
You expected it because you know most of these coaches before, but with the revamped offensive staff, it seems to have just picked up where you left off last season.
Yeah. We're not really that revamped, are we? Just got Brian's new. But to me, offensively, you're seeing we're trying a couple of new little things here and there, and some new wrinkles and some new different stuff. But Brian's been around me, and he's he kind of knows what I'm going to expect as he's catching up. All the other guys have been around, so they know what they're doing, and especially the fact that guys have been around each other for quite a long time on the offensive side of the ball certainly helps.
I know you have your plate full, but Nico was out here stretching and working out. How much do you keep an eye on him, and what have you kind of told him?
For all those guys, I saw Tyler was out here throwing yesterday too, and Nico. They're going to get opportunities. I think. I certainly hope they do. Whether they get drafted or sign a free agent, all of our guys. I don't know what happens. Once you get an opportunity, once you step foot on an NFL field, it's up to you. I think you look at Nico and Tyler coming off of injuries. There's teams that are going to give them an opportunity to step on the field, and then they know what they have to do once they've been handed that opportunity, and that's huge. And I know Nico's really been working hard so he can be ready. Someone gives him that opportunity, he's going to be ready to take advantage of it.
Dan, Jeff said a lot about, we're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, so we have to make things different. We have to create differences, and from practice to practice, just to keep them, mentally engaged. Now, how much talk about that is around your offices and just how you conduct stuff out here and do things?
Well, it's huge because one of the things that can get old, you get into practice, you get in a routine. We talked to our guys this spring about a little commitment to effort. and they think, okay, well, I'm going and, hey, I've done this drill. I'm a senior and I've done this drill 5,000 times. How do I do it better than I've done it before? And that's that constant commitment to effort. And you know what? As coaches, you got to tweak things. You got to yell and scream sometimes. You got to pat them on the back. You got to celebrate other times. You got to add one little change to a drill just to make it new or interesting. To me, that's important for these young guys, because sometimes you get into routine, which is good, but sometimes the routine kind of just leads you to go through the motions. And we can't do that out here. We got to take some big strides forward and get better as individuals, as a team, as a program.
Devin Bell was getting the same distance he had last year, but his hang time seems improved this year.
Yeah, I think he's just a lot more consistent. I think, we're not having him place kick right now. I think taking that off his plate and really just concentrating on punting. I saw him. Yesterday I put up some silly numbers. I think he was, a 49-yard average with a 4.5 hang time. That's what we want, and when that's average, that's a pretty good deal. So, if he's, I think taking some things off his plate, letting him really focus and let his talent, we know he has that talent, and really letting it come through is going to be big for us.
Orlando put the coach's hat on this week. What does that give him?
Well,
or what can you take away from it, I guess?
I don't know. We're going to find out. When you deal with a head injury, it's all going to be day to day. He, first couple days he did some stuff. And then we started going contact. We want to kind of see how we did without contact, how that goes for a week, and we'll see. The plan is, have him out there doing some live football before the end of spring to see how he's going to respond to that moving forward.
As a coach, though, he's out there actually trying to coach and get.
Well, he knows that role. That role
for
him.
To you?
It's
huge.
huge.
Not just taking off and not trying.
I think for him, and he knows as part of the program, his health, he's going to be either wearing the helmet or wearing the coach's hat this spring, but he's going to be a valuable part of the program, and that's really important to us.
Coach, your time with this team just beginning, but can you put into words maybe some differences with how this team feels compared to some of your other teams?
I think every team's obviously going to be unique. So far, you look at some of the things with this team. We have some experience. We have some older guys. I think we have some pretty good leadership out there. And when you look at the makeup of a team, when you got a bigger senior class of guys who are playing their last year of football that really take it to another level, and you add to that some great young leadership with a Tevez Calhoun, with a Dak Prescott, Bernard McKinney. With those guys, I think you have a chance to have a pretty special team.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.